The Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers are fit to be tied. It's all for the marbles in Game 5 of the National League Division Series tomorrow at Miller Park. No, I'm not calling it that corporate name. How did the Cubs do it, and how did the Brewers melt down? We'll give you all the details coming up. In the other playoff series, Seattle and Detroit, who is LaKeena rooting for tonight in all winner take all in Seattle? We'll give you our predictions coming up. In football, the Bears are prepared to take on the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football. Last night on Thursday Night Football, the New York Giants defeated the Philadelphia Eagles. I guess I'm reading a misprint here. I don't know, but we'll go through all the foolishness. We'll preview Week 7 in college football, and we'll get our NFL picks from Miss Christine, the Queen Manica. That and a whole lot more. And big superstars. One is planning for a return at some point this season, and one is going to miss the start of the season. That and a whole lot more. So Friday Funk edition of Second City Sports starts right now. Welcome to another hashtag Friday Fun edition of Second City Sports. You're locked and loaded, and we're live in Live Color right here on Sports Soul Chicago, along with Miss LaKeena McGee, which is she. I am City Brown. You better know it's me. You follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You follow my Kingdom McGee on the Twitter, X, and again on IG.
Be sure to download that Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps. Please follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe to our podcast. We're located at War Media Podcast. That's WARR Media, PODCASTS. We're located on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. And while you're at it, please give War Media a follow at WARR Media on all social media platforms. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
We're not unapologetically fun, and we have very definite opinions. If you have any definite opinion, do not 2 hours extravaganza we call a sports talk radio show. You better hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comment section of the we'll get them up on the screen for you. But if you decide to troll indoor, do something silly, dumb, or stupid, I'll forgive LaKeena for powers to give you dumb balls to Bill and beer boot.
Toodles.
But before we begin, shout out to our live game. That's LIVE Live Entertainment Game that's checking us out live right now on our Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook and YouTube pages at 12:21 p.m. Central Standard Time. But much love to the replay game that's checking us out on the replay, also at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook and YouTube channels. Don't you ever forget our motto where we talk about sports, music, or entertainment. We will always provide.
It will value us on the best here on Second City Sports. Of course, we got, hopefully, I know our girl Christine Mefford KXRB is on the road right now. She's going to try to come on, but we do got her picks, so in case she's not able to, but we got you guys covered there. Blackhawks, they did get a point against the Bruins last night. Probably should have won that game, but we'll talk about that. But they're off to a much better start, it looks like, so we'll talk about that. The Bulls, some interesting standouts in their first couple of preseason games. Also, too, will the Aces sweep the Mercury to get their third title? We'll talk WNBA title. We'll talk about that. Illinois prepares to host Ohio State tomorrow in the big noon Saturday game for Fox. We'll talk about that and the rest of the great matchups. Lots of great matchups coming up on Week 7 of college football. Also, some good matchups. Yes, the Bears don't play till Monday night against the Commanders, but there are a lot of great matches coming up in NFL Week 6, as well as some weirdness that happened last night in New Jersey for the Giants as they beat the Eagles. Are the Eagles in trouble? Or we'll talk about that and so much more in baseball. The Dodgers gets back to the NLCS on an error. One half of the ALCS has been decided as of Vlad Jr. and the Blue Jays. Finish off the Yankees, but you got 2 Game 5s, coming up. We got one today. That'll be the Tigers and the Mariners, but also too, we're going to go first with the Cubs. The Cubs force a Game 5 as they beat the Brewers, and 6-0 they shut them out. Probably their best showing so far in this divisional playoffs, and they actually finally got to Freddie Peralta, which you didn't think that would happen. Now the key was that they jumped on it early, and that's exactly what they did. Mike says, Ian Happ started with a 3-run home run that kind of started it. Kyle Tucker his first home run in like 3 months, and Michael Busch continues his tear. He hit another D1 too to kind of to put a capper there. So the Cubs shut out the Yankees, the Brewers, I should say, 6-0, and it's kind of interesting because I don't think anybody figured once the Brewers went up 2-0, you thought, I don't know if the Cubs were able to could pull this off, but they've been able to come back. They've been able to kind of grind it out, and now they force a deciding game 5 tomorrow.
Yeah, how did the Cubs do it? I'll tell you how they did it. Great starting pitching. Matthew Boyd last night, 4 2/3 innings, 3 walks, but 6 strikeouts, only giving up 2 hits, no runs. That was very impressive. Jamison Taillon the day before on Wednesday in Game 3, he pitched a well of a ball game as well in 4 innings with 4 strikeouts. And so we talked about all year, this starting pitching for the Cubs has been has been one of their strengths. Also, too, what's been their strength over the last month and a half or so, after struggling to find guys to get their 6 to 9 outs, courtesy of Craig Counsell, is their bullpen. Caleb Thielbar did the job last night. Daniel Palencia, I said he was going to be the closer of the team, but ever since he injured his shoulder early last month, remember his ERA was at a 6.5 for the month of August before he injured his shoulder. Ever since he came back, Craig Counsell has put him in that mop-up role in that 5th, 6th inning type role. He's relished in that. Caleb Thielbar, as I mentioned, he's one of the best left-handed relievers in the game. Yeah, he did the job last night. Also, too, Brad Keller shutting it down. He's going to be your closer for the rest of the season, whether it ends tomorrow or next week or whatever. So Brad Keller has done the job. This bullpen has really turned it around. And number 3, LaKeena, we talk about some of the no-name stars that need to come through, like Seiya Suzuki, Dansby Swanson, and Ian Happ, as you mentioned, who had that big 3-1 homer last night. Kyle Tucker, his bat is finally starting to speak for itself. He had a big home run last night, and you could tell when he ran around the bases that all the pressure was taken off of him. And he's been through the wars before with the Houston Astros a few years ago. I will say this for the Chicago Cubs. Tomorrow we'll get into the nuts and bolts of Game 5 following this timeout, but the Cubs have all the momentum right now. And I know Craig Counsell tried to shake things up with the lineup changes here and there, especially before Game 2. But ever since the last 2 games at Wrigley, things in terms of the lineup has gone back to normal. You start to see guys feel comfortable, and some of the guys that we expected them to come through, some of the big time guys, they're starting to come through.
You listen to Second City Sports on Sports Chicago. LaKeena McGee, City Brown with you as we recap Brewers Cubs Game 4. Now it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now the pitching matchups for tomorrow night's game, which will be on TBS, True TV, and streaming on Max. They haven't announced it yet, so there's some rumors that maybe could. I don't know if Cade Horton will be able to come back. Now he could come back. He will be eligible to. So I know he's going to be throwing a bullpen session. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Now we'll be interested to see what the Brewers do. Did they get Mizorowski to be a starter? But the Cubs have kind of gotten to the last couple of times he faced them. So this is going to be where it gets a little bit interesting on who will get the start for both these teams. I think that's going to be the edge there. But if you're the Cubs, you want to try to do like you did last night. You jump on whoever the starter is. You jump on them early, let your bats do the talk, and get a couple of insurance runs and kind of put the Brewers away, because the longer you let the Brewers hang around, you're going to be ended up doing just that. So it'll be interesting to see how Craig Counsell does this. So I know there have been some rumors that it could be Shota maybe on some short rests. I don't know if you want to do that. Now maybe do a Pomerantz Ray kind of thing, where maybe you do just have let your bullpen kind of try to tame that Brewers lineup. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting what Craig Counsell does with the pitching tomorrow.
Yeah, and if Shota pitches at any point tomorrow, for Game 5. Like I said, we'll continue the Game 5 preview on the flip side of this break, but I'll just leave you with this. If Shota gets into the game at any point tomorrow, the first sign you see from him as a trouble, if he gets a couple of men on, if he gets up a home run, you yank him out of there. Remember, this is for all the marbles, and I know Craig Counsell is not going to play around, and neither should the rest of his coaches there. So, if Shota starts tomorrow or comes in as a reliever or what have you, any sign of trouble, you got to trust him that he can get the next batter out. Let's just say he has a runner on or two runners on. If you see any signs of trouble that you cannot get him out, you can yank him out there right away because you don't have time to play. As I said, this is for all the marbles, and you have the momentum on your side right now. Going back to last night's game, you mentioned about Freddie Peralta. I noticed through the first 2 innings, he had over 51 and 52 pitches. I thought that was key as well because, as we said on our last show on Monday, Freddie Peralta has owned the Cubs the last few years, and something that this Cubs team were doing early in the year, they haven't been doing as much lately, is being patient at the plate. I know on the last episode I said be aggressive in terms of stealing bases and bunting here and there, but with a pitcher like Freddie Peralta, you had to be patient. And I thought that the Cubs had a good approach with their at-bats last night with Mr. Peralta. He had, like I said, he had 52 pitches over the first 2 innings. You could tell that, I'm not going to say he was all over the place, but he was stunned by what the Cubs hitters were their approach to him was, because after that 3-run home run from Ian Happ, you can start to see that the Cubs actually had more confidence within themselves. I know they didn't score any more runs off of him, but until he got out of there. But you could tell that we're starting to get to him, and the pressure started to were coming on to Milwaukee, and they didn't know how to handle it.
No, they really didn't. They were, like I said, they were able to kind of, force Peralta to kind of stretch out a little bit, which is something that they haven't been able to do. And we thought that was going to be the key. And that's why, especially, when Ian Happ hit that home run off him. So that really helps with that. So we're going to take a really quick break. Of course, we'll get more deeper into it. We'll see if there's been some breaking news about the pitching matchups for tomorrow night. And we'll do the other LDS as the Dodgers get in. Thanks to a throwing error, you feel bad for Kara, but then we'll get to that.
I got words.
Yeah, and also too. Well, you know what? Save those words because we got another Game 5 tonight in Seattle as the Tigers and the Mariners will try to. We'll see who faces the Blue Jays in the ALCS. So we'll have all that and more coming next. LaKeena, McGee, Sidney, Brown, Second City Sports on Sports Chicago. More playoff baseball talk coming up right after this.
Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Sean Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Got it done here. Ouch! And we're gonna make sure you lit this time. Ouch! You're not gonna get me this time.
Ow, Manny!
Oops! Let's try an easy one.
Every day, we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Hey, this is Corey McGee, and I listen to Sean and Maya on the morning show.
Welcome back to Second City Sports on the hashtag Fun Friday, Football Friday edition of the program. I'm Sid, that's LaKeena. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can find LaKeena McGee on the Twitter, X, again, at IG.
As we continue to preview Cubs Brewers Game 5 and discuss the rest of the MLB playoffs, for this segment, if you have any questions or comments regarding the baseball playoffs or Cubs baseball, you definitely hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comment section. LaKeena will get the up on the screen for you.
To put a capper on this for the Game 5, the key, I think, is going to be make sure do what you tried to do yesterday and just tame the big hitters for the Brewers. Willie Contreras was 0 for 4. Christian Yelich was 0 for 2. Andrew Vaughn was only 1 for 3. And I think if you're the Cubs, you want to try and see if you can duplicate that and not make this into like an outduel, hitting. You could beat them, via outduel hitting, but you just don't know. So I would say if it does become like a bullpen kind of matchup with the pitching, you got to try to see if you can, do what you try to do and just maybe see if you can. Look, I know there are going to be a lot of Cub fans up there in Milwaukee tomorrow, and it's probably be like a college bowl game atmosphere. So I think if you want to feed off that, get the Brewers, fans out of it early. If you can do that, then you should be able to win this series.
Remember, they did that the first couple of times in games 1 and 2. They just couldn't sustain it. So unlike here in Chicago, the last two games games 3 and 4, they were able to sustain it. Like I'm with you. It's right. You jump out on them early. They could if they wanted to. I'll slow them, but you don't want to get into that because, like you said, the things could happen, and you don't want to take that chance. But I'm with you that there could be another start, another fast start will help them, but it depends on who they have starting, who they have aligned pitching in terms of Craig Counsell and his guys, whoever they like to start. So if they can neutralize that start, neutralize the Brewers like they did the last two games here in Chicago, I think they'll win. A couple players I'm gonna keep my eyes on for Game 5. Dansby Swanson, he did not have a hit last night, but his defense has been excellent. I'm looking for him to come up with a big hit or two. Don't forget third baseman Matt Shaw. I know his offense has been cold lately, but he had 2 hits. He was 2 out of 3 last night, including he had a run scored and an RBI last night. Not a run scorer. He had an RBI last night to basically put the game away. So I'm looking for him to have a big impact at the plate. Also, too, Nico Horner. He had 3 hits last night. He was 3 for 5 last night. So his defense has improved as the series has gone along. His bat is really starting to wake up as well. So I'm looking for those two guys to have a big hit or two. Let's not forget about Michael Busch. I know he's done well at Wrigley so far this year. I know he had a home run in one of the first 2 games. I think it was game 1 1 week ago tomorrow. But let's see what Michael Busch could do. I know that Craig Counsell not to lead him off in game 2. It came out to bite him in the butt. Let's see if Michael Busch could spark some magic again at the top of that lineup.
Going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Now going into the other National League Divisional Series, which ended in 4 games. The Dodgers reached NLCS for the 4th straight year, and Orion Keckerly from the Phillies. It's just the bases were loaded. They were 2 outs in the bottom of the 11th, and he, instead of going to first base, which could have ended the inning, could have went to the 12th inning, he decides to throw to home. And you guys saw what happened after that. And Jason Realmuto couldn't get a handle on it. It went wide to the left, and pitch runner Hong Seong Kim across home plate, and that's all she wrote there. The Dodgers go back to NLCS. They're sitting waiting for the winner of the Cubs Brewers series, and yeah, I had a multi-view, so I had the Cubs Brewers game on one screen, and then I had the Phillies Dodgers game on the other screen. And I had to go back and wait, what did that just happen? So it was just a very, very weird, just a very weird ending to that game.
Yeah, well, I think with just to put a capper on the Cubs series, I don't know if you heard Brewers manager Pat Murphy last night during his post-game presser. He said some of his guys, especially some of his young guys, started to press as the pressure went on. You saw that with the Philadelphia Phillies pitcher last night. I saw that play 2 live in 11 color. If you saw the replay, JT Realmuto, the catcher, told him throw the first base. But before that, here's what happened. When the ball hit to him, he looked up the second base before he picked up the ball. That was the first mistake right there. Number 2, which caused him to panic to throw home. Don't forget, Kim already had a couple of steps towards home plate, because even if he did, even if the pitcher did threw the ball home on time, he still would have been safe. As Realmuto, the catcher, said, just throw the first, because Paez was barely at the halfway point down the first base line. If he didn't fumble the ball on top of the pitcher, he would have thrown Paez out, and they still would be playing right now. So I know that his teammates consoled him and stuck up for him after the game, but it's just when you haven't been in a position like that, if you're a young player, it's a hard lesson to learn, but you got to learn those lessons, hopefully strengthens you along the way. But that was completely a mental error, a mental breakdown, something that you're taught in Little League, that just pick up the ball cleanly. Don't think before you do. We all done that before. So, but like you said, LaKeena, if he didn't think ahead and just picked up the ball and threw it to first base, we'll still be playing. Because Philadelphia, even though the Dodgers tied it up with the bases loaded, walking to 7, Philadelphia is playing. They were dominating that game. It's just that their big hitters like Kyle Schwarber, unlike in Game 3, and Bryce Harper, who went 0 for 4 with a walk, those big bats did not come through. So Philadelphia, for the second straight year, they go out in the division series. So what's their plan this offseason? We don't know. But it's just a hard lesson to learn, just losing it on a mental error like they did last night.
Just brutal how that series ended, because you could say that the Phillies, had that not happened, you think the Phillies would have found a way to win that game, and I
thought they would have. Yeah,
that we'd be previewing a Dodgers Phillies game 5 tomorrow. After they probably would have came on, knowing how the schedule is, it probably would have come on before the Cubs game, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean, I think Zach Wheeler not being there, I think that kind of what killed him there as far as the pitching, the hitting. But like you said, Bryce Harper, where was he? Unfortunately, that you got to wonder that also played a part as well. Kyle Schwarber. Now remember, his contract is up after this season, so people were saying that probably the last time we see him in a Phillies uniform. Let's see here. A lot of Trey Turner was over. So the Phillies, to their credit, they just Kerry has to eat that. But again, where were the big hitters for Philadelphia that didn't show up when they needed it? So that was another, probably should not have been in that position to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, the Phillies got a lot to think about during the offseason.
Yep. On the flip side, let's give props to the Dodgers pitching. I know their bullpen has been a mess all year, partially due to injuries and inconsistency. But I said Kelly Thielbar is one of the best best left-hander relievers in the game. Let's put Alex Vesey, number 51 from the Dodgers, in that group as well, because he's been doing the job all year long. He did it again last night. But I want to go back to their starting pitching. Tyler Glasnow, who's been injured off and on ever since he's put on the Dodger uniform with the former Tampa Bay Ray. 6 innings pitched last night, only gave up 2 hits, no runs, 3 walks, but 8 strikeouts. It was very impressive. Roki Sasaki, the rookie pitcher, he's been dealing with shoulder issues off and on all year. He missed parts of the season, chunks of the season. Dave Roberts, the manager, give him credit. He's been using him in in the seventh and eighth inning roles. He pitched three strong innings last night, and he struck out 2, gave up no runs and no hits and no walks. So, Dave Roberts, I know some Dodgers fans want to get on him for what he did years ago. This man has 2 World Series. 9 times out of 10, he knows what he's doing. He's kind of had to piece together that bullpen this year, but the guys that he's asked to step up has stepped up so far. You saw it once again last night.
And the hitting, not necessarily last night, but the hitting has really been solid. Mookie Betts had a couple, early in the series. Freddie Freeman has looked good. Teoscar Hernandez had a big hit, has had a couple big hits. Now Ohtani, he's been okay. Hasn't been Ohtani-esque, but look, you haven't really needed to since your guys in the back end have stepped up for the Dodgers. So again, we're kind of starting to see the Dodgers team that we saw won the World Series last year. So, and that could be scary for whoever ends up coming out of whoever it is, the Brewers or the Cubs. It's going to be a very tough matchup for them. So I'm looking forward to see, the Dodgers are starting to kind of, especially now they get extra days to rest. So they'll guys, like your Glasnows and your Kershaws, and also Freddie Freeman, those guys can rest up a little bit and heal up before they start their LCS next week.
And like you said, LaKeena, with them getting a couple of days off, because I believe it starts on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, at the time of the NLCS. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it starts on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned what that Dodgers lineup. Mookie Betts, happy birthday to him, by the way. Me and him share the same birthday. With Mookie Betts heating up, and some of the Kike Hernandez, you know how hot he gets in the month of October. He comes through with big hits every postseason year. Ohtani has not heated up at the plate yet. I know he has a bunch of strikeouts, but if he can ever get going, talking about Ohtani at the plate, that Dodgers team is definitely going to be very difficult to beat. You saw what he did in Game 1 week ago tomorrow, pitches 6 innings. Now, if you take that mentality and apply it to his batting, that's definitely going to be very dangerous.
Indeed. So going to be area to see what happens with the Dodgers. Like I said, we'll preview that LCS on Monday. You listen to Second City Sports on Sports Chicago. LaKeena, McGee, stay around with you as we talk more LDS baseball. Now we get to go to Seattle because tonight we have a Game 5, and it'll be the Tigers and the Mariners. It's after the Tigers force a Game 5, 9-3 in Game 4. Just look, Gleyber Torres had an RBI. And Javier Baez, he was the man of the hour there. He had 4 RBIs, and the Tigers were able to beat the Mariners, forcing a Game 5. And, you saw Comerica Park. I mean, it was just insane, that atmosphere there, especially once the Tigers got going there. After trailing 3-0, they came back and scored 9 unanswered. And it'll be interesting to see here tonight. You got George Kirby for the Mariners against Tariq Skubal. So that's going to be a very interesting pitching matchup. And I think if you're either side, you want to get your pitching early. I think this is really going to be about the pitching here in this matchup. And I think who can kind of team whoever's offense. I think that's who's going to win this Game 5.
The last a couple of statistics, say that 5 times fast. A couple of statistics that stood out to me. I don't know if you paid attention to it on the last broadcast, LaKeena, but this was the Tigers' most runs they scored in a playoff game since 1968. And AJ Prziski on the broadcast said, "Remember those Tigers teams back in the early 2010s? Remember the 06 team?
Mm-hmm.
Really, they didn't score 9 runs or more one
Nope.
time. I don't buy it, but it is what it is.
No. If you remember those teams in those early 2010s, yeah, that sounds about right.
But it is what it is. Number 2, the last 3 times that Tariq Skubal has faced the Seattle Mariners, including the last Sunday night's Game 2, Seattle has beat him. And like you said, LaKeena, Detroit has to jump on. In my opinion, for Detroit to win, they have to jump on George Kirby early, because we talked about it on our last show. Detroit, even though they had some big bobbers in Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green, who had 35, 36 home runs in the regular season. And then, like you said, Javi Baez came through with a big hit on Wednesday in Game 4. They strike out a lot, and that plays into Seattle Mariners' advantage a lot. And with Seattle doing what they did in the first half of their game 4, I think they'll give them confidence. It's just that things unravel in that 6th inning there on Wednesday. But Tariq Skubal, I think he's going to rise up to the challenge. But Detroit has to jump on George Kirby early, like they did on Wednesday. Take the approach into tonight's game. Be patient at the plate. Don't be hacking and whacking, jumping out here, being aggressive. Sometimes you can be too aggressive and get out of your game plan. Just be patient. Wait for your pitch to hit. Don't go for the home run all the time. Sometimes you got to bump the runner over, hit the ball into the gap, and play hit and run. So for the Detroit Tigers, you have to be patient tonight. Wait for your pitch. Sometimes you got to take a few more pitches than you normally would. So it's all about patience and finding the right time to strike if you're the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, and Kirby's one of those pitchers where he's kind of like ebbs and flows. You just start with him where he strikes out like 9 or 10 guys, only gives up like maybe 2 hits or maybe 3 hits at most. Then there have been other times this season where he's given up 6 runs, and it just things kind of fell off pretty quick before the 5th inning. So if you're the Tigers, you definitely want the latter. If you're the Mariners, you want the former. So I think that's what you want. And also, too, guys like Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez. Look, that's a stacked lineup for the Mariners. And unfortunately, those folks I'm talking about just didn't show up. Naylor needs to step up. Polanco, Suarez. I mean, all those guys, J.P. Crawford, who went over. I mean, those guys really need to step up here if they want to have a shot, perhaps maybe winning this series. I know T-Mobile Park, that place is going to be rocking tonight, and that's really going to be the key here if you're the Tigers, to try to jump on not only Kirby, but also just the fact to get the crowd out of it, because they're going to be hanging on every pitch. So it's going to be very interesting to see, because remember, Seattle has not reached the ALCS. You got to go all the way back to the beginning of this century, this particular century. I mean.
2001, Yep. So with Griffey Jr. and Jay Bruner and those guys. Okay, anyway, and Brandon Johnson. Okay, anyway, yeah. So it's been a long time. They think the Mariners fans want this. So I'm sure it's going to be, they're going to be, locked in. So we'll see what happens. It should be exciting game 5. Yes, it will be exciting. As I said, for Seattle, you mentioned you took those names right out of my mouth. That those guys need to step up as well. The pitching, I believe, is going to be there. I think George Kirby has to set the tone early, because I think the rest of that bullpen they're going to try to forget what happened in game 4 and get it out of their system. They have to and move on. But I think they'll use that as a motivator as if George Kirby gives the Mariners a strong start. On the flip side for the Tigers, Tariq Skubal is going to show up. The defense got to show up, but offensively they got to be patient. And if they are, and they take the pitches where they can give them, don't go for the home run all the time. We know that Safeco Field. I'm not calling it that new name. Forget it. But Seattle's ballpark is not a hitter-friendly ballpark, so you got to take what you can get. So. We'll see what happens tonight. I'm interested to see that Dan Wilson and AJ Hinch, that cheater, is going to be an interesting chess match there. I think we may see some extra innings possibly tonight. That would be fun. But if I had to pick, I'm going with Seattle.
Well, remember, you wanted that cheater to come on a few years ago for the White Sox, Sid.
No, I didn't. Don't you put that on me, young lady.
Okay, well, we gotta go back to the tape here. We got recording, so we'll get to the bottom of that. But yeah, it could be. This could be one of those kind of similar to what happened last night with the Phillies and the Dodgers. It could be like a 2-1, 3-2 kind of thing where we may go 11 or 12 innings. You hope it doesn't come into a throwing error. You wish it just maybe someone hits a home run or something. But yeah, it could be. It's going to be exciting tonight, and you'll be able to watch it on the Big Fox Network at 7:08, and should be a fun one. And I expect nice, good-sized Rays. Now, so far the Rays have been okay for the LDS, well, for the playoffs in general. So, especially you got a game 5, we got 2 teams. Okay, yeah, they're not the big markets, but again, these are 2 teams that got a lot of history, so it should be a good one tonight in Seattle.
You're listening to Second City Sports Zone Chicago. LaKeena here with you, talking MLB playoffs. For those of you that are listening and watching, do you think the Cubs have a shot in tomorrow's Game 5 against the Milwaukee Brewers? Let us know in the comments at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comment section. LaKeena will get the up on the screen for you. Now let's review the Blue Jays series win over the New York Yankees. Of course, the Blue Jays put away the New York Yankees by the score of 5-2 on Wednesday in Game 4. After blowing Game 3, LaKeena, with that 6-3 lead by the Blue Jays early, the Yankees stormed back courtesy of Aaron Judge and crew. But those bats went solid again on Wednesday. It was a bullpen game for the Blue Jays, but Vlad Guerrero Jr. came through, started the party off with the offense with his bat. The Blue Jays got solid pitching at the end. They're in the American League Championship Series for the first time in, I believe, 9 years.
Yes, it's 2016, and just some of the names for that team, because I remember that team very well. You got your Brett Cecil, your Jose Batistas, R.A. Dickey with the knuckleball, Darwin Barney, former Cub Darwin Barney. So yeah, pretty
Ooh,
good.
I've heard that name in a long time.
I know, right? I wonder what he's up to these days. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, that team lost to Cleveland. I believe they lost in 5, I believe, that year, but in the ALCS. But yeah, the Yankees. Well, I can't say it with I can't say it with that deep voice of Vlad Jr.'s, but yeah, he basically said that during the post game. That made Big Papi very happy that he said that. But well, A-Rod and Derek Jeter not so much. But yeah, I mean, look, they were in a tough. They blew the lead. They were able to come back. To the Blue Jays credit, they were able to come back and win that game and that series. And because the Yankees had all the momentum going in, so the fact that they were able to come back and they were able to kind of tame themselves and just got back to that clutch hitting by Vlad Jr. And look, that's why they're going back to the ALCS for the first time in 9 years.
Yeah, on the flip side for the New York Yankees, I was listening to some of their sports radio stuff, both stations for the last day or so. And here's the thing: they're starting pitching. Yes, they did miss Garrett Cole. I know he was out for the year. Hopefully, he'll come back healthy and strong next year. Max Fried didn't have a good game last 1 week ago. Tomorrow in Game 1, Carlos Rodon didn't have a good game either. I don't know what in Game 3 early, but I don't know what more GM Brian Cashman can do to booster this roster. Trent Grisham, their center fielder, he could be gone. Maybe Cody Bellinger comes back. He did have a solid year for them. Aaron Judge, you cannot blame him this postseason. I don't know about you, but you cannot blame him for this postseason. I know he had a little arm injury there, so his defense wasn't as strong, but he did come through in the play. Maybe Cashman could do a surprise trade and trade Giancarlo Stanton. He gets hurt every year. I don't know, but for me personally, I think the Yankees can start with defense and maybe get another extra reliever in there. I don't know. What say you?
Yeah, I'm wondering. I know some people said that maybe Cashman should be let go. I have a couple of friends who are Yankees fans, and they've about had it. So that's gonna be interesting to see what happens, what they do with this. But yeah, this is gonna be the part where the offseason, Devin Williams ended up not being what the Yankees thought that he would be after they made that trade with the Brewers for him last year. I think they definitely got to beef up that pitching a little bit, especially if Garrett Cole probably won't be back till probably a couple of months after the start of next season. So that's going to be another issue they're going to have to face, especially with the pitching and stuff, especially also bullpen, especially Judge. I don't think shouldn't get the blame. I think he had a couple of big hits that forced the game 4. He didn't just have any helping on the back end. So Stanton, where was he that game? So this is gonna be kind of interesting to see what happens. I know Aaron Boone said he expects to be back next year, much to the chagrin, I'm sure, of some Yankees fans. And, well, again, we'll see what they do during the offseason. I mean, will they open up the checkbook, perhaps maybe overspend as usual, try to beef up some of that stuff? Because they got a lot of needs. I'm talking about the Yankees do. So we'll see. We'll find out what they do when the offseason begins.
Yeah, don't forget Aaron Boone's contract is up after 2027. And I said, Brian Cashman, I won't be surprised if he's let go. He's been there through a lot of these years, the Derek Jeter years with that dynasty at the end of the 90s and early 2000s through now. This still, I believe, their second longest drought in franchise history in terms of winning a championship. They haven't won the World Series since 2009. There's 18 years this season. So well, the Yankees have a lot of work to do. I know we got a minute or so left in this segment. I didn't get your prediction on the Cubs Brewers winner take all Game 5. Who do you have winning this and why?
If we get this, if something similar happens with the Cubs that they did yesterday, it could be one of those 3-2 type of deals. I think the Cubs do just enough to win it, and I think that the Cubs will win the game and win the series.
I'll be the knucklehead. I'll take the Milwaukee Brewers. And yes, they'll have to have strong starting pitchers to start out the game. As we said on the Cubs side, the Cubs have gotten up to fast starts. The first 2 games they just couldn't hold it. The last 2 games they were able to withstand their strong start. But if you the Brewers do not let the Cubs get off early, Yes, you had the offense with Christian Yelich and Andrew Vaughn, who struggled last night, and Jackson Churio and some of those guys. But if you can keep the Cubs off the scoreboard for the first 3-4 innings, you're definitely going to give yourself a shot. And this is why you won the division, to have home field advantage in situations like this. Does this guarantee the Milwaukee Brewers a win? No, even though they did the job the first 2 games of the series. You have to put what happened the last 2 days in Chicago behind you. What matters is what you do right now. Just take it one inning at a time, one pitch at a time. I think they'll win this ball game, because I think even though the Cubs bullpen has stepped up these last 2 games, the Milwaukee is a little bit more, in my opinion, more better all around team than Chicago. So I'm taking Milwaukee by the score of 5-4.
Now, as far as the game 5 tonight between the Tigers and the Mariners, I had Mariners in 5. I'm gonna stick with it. I think the hitting was what will prepare the Mariners, especially late. It could be one of those days where it's tied at no score, or maybe like 1-1 or something like that, and maybe Cal Raleigh hits a game-winning home run.
I think it has Seattle winning this series too, so I'm going to stick with them. As you mentioned, if this a low scoring game, this will benefit Seattle. If it's a high scoring game, even though this team strikes out a lot, it's going to benefit the Tigers. So I think Seattle keeps this close. If they're there in the late innings, they're one of the best teams in baseball and winning games in the late innings. I expect that same scenario to play itself out for them tonight. So I'm going with the Mariners.
All right, and that Toronto, whoever wins that game will have a very short rest. We'll have a quick turnaround, because the ALCS game 1 against they got to go up north to play Toronto. That starts Sunday, so they will have they can't celebrate too much, because they got to get right back at it on Sunday. So that game, whoever wins, they go at Toronto. That game will be just a little after 7:00 first pitch on the Big Fox Network.
Put a lock of hour number 1. Hour number 2's doors will open up following this timeout right here on Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. When we return, we'll preview week 7 of college football. There are some interesting games outside of Illinois and Ohio State. We'll get into that. We'll get into some NBA preseason, and we'll have our week 6 NFL picks featuring our girl, Miss Christine the Queen Manica. That and a whole lot more. You listen to Second City Sports right here on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Sean Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
It's a romance sport. What? It's a romance sport like that.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, no matter where we serve, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Everybody in a work zone is someone's somebody.
This is my mom. She works for KDOT.
This is my dad.
This is my mom.
This is my daddy.
This is my sister.
This is my daddy.
This is my son, Scott. He was killed while working in a highway work zone. When you drive through a work zone, drive like a life depends on it. Because it does.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Second City Sports on a hashtag Friday Fun, hashtag Football Friday edition. You're locked and loaded, and we're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid, that's LaKeena. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter X and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You follow my Kingdom again on the Twitter X and goes again to IG.
As we kick off hour number 2, previewing the big matchups in week 7 from the world of college football for this segment. If you have any questions or comments regarding that, and we'll get into some thoughts from last night's Thursday night football contest. We ain't forgot about that either. You can definitely hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comment section. LaKeena, get the up on the screen for you.
Going into week 7 of NCAA football with a lot of interesting weirdness here. Just a couple of scores. Jacksonville State beat Sam Houston State 29-27. That ended up being a great game. I watched a little bit of that. And also, Tulane beats East Carolina 26-19. Going into tonight's matchup, you got number 24 South Florida against the Fighting Layla Rahimis, North Texas, at 6:30 on ESPN2. Trying to show them this Rahimi there. A late Big Ten matchup in Seattle. You got Washington hosting Rutgers. That's going to be at 8:00 on Fox Sports 1. And in the Mountain West, you got Fresno State and Colorado State at 8:00 on CBS Sports Network. Now going into the early matchups for tomorrow, we'll start with the big noon Saturday game as Ohio State faces Illinois down there at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Now, incidentally, I guess someone posted something, and let me see if I can get it back on here real quick, that the last 5 times that Illinois and Ohio State have faced each other, Illinois has won all those games. So yeah, there we go. 0-1 was the last one. Illinois was a better team back then than the Ohio State. They were kind of like rebuilding, if you will, for that year. But so being ranked, it has been a good thing for Illinois when it comes to facing Ohio State. So can they repeat that tomorrow?
Yeah, can we get Juice Williams to play wide receiver?
That would help. Yeah, just a little bit.
But back to reality, back to life. For Illinois, I know that Ohio State's a 14.5-point favorite, but I think with that home crowd and the way Illinois played last week, not letting down from beating USC at home the previous week, I think that's going to give them some confidence. The key for me for Illinois is they're going to have to run the ball, especially with Fagan. Keep feeding them the right. Let that offensive line gain some confidence, gain some physicality up front, because Ohio State's defense, I know some people overlook it because of their offensive talent on the other side of the ball, but their Ohio State defense is kind of sneaky good. It hasn't been tested as much yet. It's going to be interesting to see how that Illinois offensive line will stand up against the D line of the Buckeyes tomorrow. So Illinois is going to have to run the ball. Number 2, Luke Altmaier has been playing great so far this year. Very few turnovers, 12 touchdown passes on the year, over 1,500 yards passing. He's going to have to play a damn near perfect game to even give Illinois a chance. I think they can stay in this thing, but it's going to be interesting to see on the flip side for Illinois' defense how they can neutralize that receiver for Ohio State. His name escapes me for the moment, but how they're going to neutralize him and how they're going to put pressure on that quarterback.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith, who you're thinking of.
Thank you.
Yeah, that wide receiver. He's already, some people say it could be a top 5 pick. So, it's going to be tough for that Illinois defense. So, that Illinois defense is pretty decent in its own right. I mean, they're not exactly slouches. Miles Scott, he's a really a solid DB, and Gabe Jacobs as well. So both Senior Layton, so I don't think that'll be a problem. Now, Kate Curry, who's the one of the top defensive ends in the country for Ohio State. He's going to be the key, I think, for Luke Altmaier. You can't afford to make any mistakes if you're Altmaier.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta, he's going to be coming after you a lot. He's one of the top pass rushers in not only the Big Ten but also in the country. So if he can force Altmaier to make some mistakes, it could be a long Saturday for the Illini. I think Illinois will cover, but I think Ohio State will win this game. I feel like Illinois got the talent to kind of stay with them for a little bit, but Ohio State will be too much for them late, so they'll in the back end. So I think that they pull away late, and I think Illinois will cover at the very least.
I agree with you. You just took my prediction right out of my mouth. I think let's not forget the Illinois secondary. They can force the turnovers. They had the last couple weeks against USC, and of course last week at Purdue against a lesser opponent. But they're gonna have to force at least a couple of turnovers, and they have to go after that quarterback. I'll say this. I'll give the matchup a number. If the Fighting Illini can generate 3 sacks or more, I think they win this ball game. But they can still do that and still lose this ball game because, like you said, LaKeena, that offensive line of Illinois, they're going to have to come ready to play there, which means run the football, take the pressure off of Altmaier. I don't know, it sounds simple, but it's very difficult to do against a team like that. I'm with you. I think Illinois will lose a heartbreaker, but they'll stay in it for a while.
Off to Columbia, Missouri for the other big matchup at 11 a.m. tomorrow. This will be on ABC. You got Alabama. They've won a couple in a row. They face Missouri. Well, or should I say the Fighting Mike Burmans and Josh Freidman's, both friends of the show.
Both of them have a picture on their Instagram the other day. Did you see
I saw. Yeah, I did. I saw that with the Tigers level. That was just hilarious. Beat Bama. That was so funny. But I think Mizzou's one of those teams where I think they could probably have a shot. Look, I think I know Ty Simpson's been very solid for Bama, 13 touchdown passes. That's nothing to sneeze at. Pabula for Mizzou's been really solid as well. I think for me, it's really going to be the defense for the Tigers. If they can tame Alabama in that offense, which is not, they're young, but they're very tough. So I think, I don't know what I think the line is. I think I got it right here in front of me.
2.5 Alabama.
So they got them at a pick 'em. So they know something. So I think Mizzou. I don't want to have Josh and Mike be mad at me. So I'll say Mizzou pulls off the upset just because I want to stay in good graces with those two men. I just want they're friends of the show. I gotta keep in good graces with them.
Speaking of Mizzou, watch out for Ahmad Harvey, their star running back. 103 carries on the year, 730 rushing yards, and 9 touchdowns. So I think he's going to be the factor for the Missouri Tigers on offense. On the flip side, you mentioned with Ty Simpson. Yeah, he had a good performance a couple weeks ago against Georgia, but this is a whole different animal, no pun intended, going on the road to Columbia, Missouri. We'll see what happens with him. Jeremy Bernard, the Crimson Tide star wide receiver, 5 receiving touchdowns on the year.
Yeah, that's good. He's going to be a big tough matchup for that secondary of the Tigers. That's probably one of the things that there might be a bit of a little iffy about. But again, I think this is an evenly matched game, so it should be a fun one down there in Columbia, Missouri. Now, can Florida State bounce back after losing a couple in a row? Well, they host Pittsburgh. That's going to be at 11 a.m. on ESPN, and this is another intriguing matchup in the Big Ten. Now, these are 2 unranked teams, but look, Michigan State, they lost 2 of their last 3. You got UCLA coming off that big upset against Penn State. Tim Skipper, the interim coach, and also Jerry Neuheisel, the OC. If you guys know, his dad Rick had a couple of big moments when he was at UCLA. They look just alike too. It's kind of freaky, but yeah, it should be a good matchup on Big Ten Network on tomorrow and in Open East Lansing.
I think Michigan State needs to have a fast start, and I know it's going to be an early start for UCLA in terms of body clock. I know it's 9 a.m. out there, 11 o'clock here in Chicago, but the Spartans could jump out on the Bruins early. Do not give them any confidence. I think they'll go on with the victory. They're favored by 7.5, and watch out for the Spartans. Amari Kelly, only 1 receiving touchdown on the year off of 22 catches, but I expect him to have a big game for the Spartans and for UCLA. Let's see if they can build off that upset last week at home against Penn State.
Should be, like I said, very tricky matchup. In the ACC, you got Stanford and SMU. That's going to be on the CW network. WGN 9 of those who scoring at home. Cincy coming off the upset against Iowa State. They host UCF. Will there be a letdown? We'll see. It's going to be on FS1 at 11 a.m. Oklahoma State hosts Houston in the Big 12. That's going to be on TNT and streaming on HBO Max. Charlotte and Army, that's going to be on CBS Sports Network. Now going into the afternoon games, a big one here in the Big Ten on CBS first. You got number 7 Indiana against number 3 Oregon.
And there, most people thought, including surely Indiana, excuse me, was going to take a step back this year. So far, their play says, we're here for the long run. Indiana ranked number 7, 5-0 on the year, 2-0 in the Big Ten. Oregon, we know what they can do. They're 5-0, also 2-0 in the Big Ten, ranked number 3 in the country. Of course, Oregon's big win, in my opinion, was a couple weeks ago in double overtime at Happy Valley against Penn State. And we saw what Penn State's been a free fall ever since. But for this game, it's going to come down to the quarterback play for the Oregon Ducks, Dante Moore, 14 touchdown passes to 1 interception on the year. But on the flip side, for the Indiana Hoosiers, Roman Hembry, 351 yards, no touchdowns yet. He's due to have a big game. I think he's going to have a big game to keep Oregon's defense at bay. And Elijah Sarrett, their star wide receiver, talking about for Indiana, 6 receiving touchdowns on the year, off of 31 receptions of over 400 receiving yards.
Derry Hill Jr., the freshman from downstate in Centralia. He has 2 TDs and 270 rushing yards. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear his name a lot during that telecast tomorrow. But yeah, this should be a fun one. I will be glued to this one because this should be a really fun matchup between these two teams. Could these two teams play each other again in December? in about 2 months from now?
It's very possible.
Maybe. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. At the same time on ABC, the Red River rivalry presented by Allstate is 3-2 Texas on 1 SEC play, hosting Oklahoma, who are checking in at 5-0 on the year, 1-0 in SEC play. This will be at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas. OU is favored by a point and a half, so Vegas has this at a pick 'em. LaKeena, for me, for Texas, it all comes down to Arch Manning. We saw what happened a couple weeks ago at Florida at the Swamp. He did not have a good game. That defense for Texas got ran out of the building. I know the score was close at the end, but that Texas defense was caught off guard. Oklahoma, they're very strong this year. Look at that star quarterback, John Mateer, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year. Also, too, their star running back, Torrey Blaylock, 3 rushing touchdowns on the year, off of 257 rushing yards. But their star wide receiver, Isaiah Staniga III, almost close to 400 yards on the year and 3 receiving touchdowns. Texas, their Longhorns defense really have another big challenge on their hands.
Yeah, it's going to be very. As I know, Mateer's been banged up. I know he didn't play their last game. They didn't need to against Kent State. Could we see Michael Hawkins Jr. again? He had 3 TD passes. So we'll just see if we see him again. If Mateer can't go, will that be an issue? I think Oklahoma is so far their defense has been really probably one of the better defenses I think in the country. Taylor Wine, who is only a sophomore, but he already has 3.5 sacks this year. So he could probably, he might be on Arch Manning's neck a lot that game tomorrow, especially if that O-line that's really been the issue for me for Texas, but that O-line. The O-line has not done Manning any favors. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma, they might, I don't want to say though, I know 1.5, I guess, look, you always throw the records out the window when these two teams play, no matter what happens. But I think for me, Torrey Blaylock, like you said, he could be the factor here. We might be hearing his name a lot. So he may have a big day for Oklahoma. So it should be, I don't want to say Oklahoma's going to blow them out, but have you seen the way Texas has played lately? I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. A couple of other games running at the same time tomorrow at 2:30. ACC Network 2-4, Virginia Tech. The Hokies will travel to Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta. They're doing the ATL stump because the number 13 Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are checking in at 5-0, 2-0 in ACC play. Georgia Tech is favored for 14.5. Should they be on upset alert? I say no.
No, but again, you never know because I think Notre Dame. Look, the NC State's 4-2. They've been kind of I don't want to say they've been sneaking up on people, but it's a solid. I know they lost 2 in a row in conference play. They lost to they actually lost to Virginia Tech. So unfortunately, they just got edged out by Virginia Tech. They did They played Campbell last week, so that didn't really count. But yeah, I think they should have the confidence here. I think their defense, if anything, that might be the key. I feel like for the Wolfpack, I think Notre Dame should be on upset alert because I think that NC State squad is probably one of those squads where it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them. But yeah, I think Notre Dame, I think, should be on upset alert.
Yeah, I was talking about the Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech.
Well, I think I said Georgia Tech should be fine. It's not.
All right.
They should be okay.
Yeah, speaking of Notre Dame, they're favored by 22.5 points at home at Irish Stadium. I think Notre Dame will. I'm not going to say cruise to this one, but they should be able to beat NC State handily. At the same time on ESPN, prime time. The Colorado Buffaloes 0-3 in Big 12 play. They're checking in at 2-4. Iowa State, ranked number 22 in the country, they're checking in at 5-1, 2-1 in Big 12 play. This will be in Boulder, Colorado. LaKeena, Colorado's been in these last couple of games, the last 2 or 3 weeks, that they just can't find a way to pull through. They actually have a running game with Welch, but that quarterback play is getting on my blessed nerves. And we all know that Iowa State has a big arsenal on offense, starting with their quarterback, Mr. Rocco Beck, 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And, of course, their big running back, Carson Hansen, 2 rushing touchdowns on the year, off of 348 yards rushing. I think Colorado, whose defense has actually improved a bit, they can stop the run. But Iowa State, we all know their big attack is airing the ball out on offense. This could be a long day for the Buffaloes secondary tomorrow.
And Iowa State might not be in a very good mood after losing to Cincy last week. So wondering, you don't want to face an angry cyclone, if you will. So yeah, I think this could be a long afternoon for Coach Prime and his guys. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. Now the Big Ten matchup: Penn State losing 2 in a row. They host Northwestern. That's gonna be on FS1 also at 2:30. You think Northwestern can pull it off, or maybe Penn State might wake up and you don't want to. Angry pack of Nittany Lions. So they.
You would think that Penn State would wake up after the double overtime loss a couple weeks ago against Oregon. Nope. UCLA has something for them. If they don't wake up tomorrow, James Franklin is really going to be in trouble. He went from national championship hopes to swimming in the basement. They're still 0-2 in the Big Ten. Talking about Penn State. If they can't get up for this game tomorrow at home, I don't know what to tell you. They're favored by 21.5. I'm talking about Penn State. They should be able to take care of Northwestern. I know Northwestern's been sneaky good this year, but Northwestern, I know they had some memorable games recently in the last few years up there in Happy Valley, but I think this is going to be a different story. So I'm going with Penn State.
All right, staying the Big Ten also on BTN, you got Nebraska and Maryland. Maryland after losing to Washington, you got to think what kind of mood they'll be in. Also Nebraska as well. It should be a fun one. That should be a fun one down there in College Park. You got Wake Forest and Oregon State in the ACC. That's going to be on the CW network. Again, WGN Channel 9 for those who are scoring at home. Staying in the Big 12, you got TCU and Kansas State. That's also going to be on the Big Fox network at 2:30. Going into, Arkansas on number 12, Tennessee. That's going to be on the SEC network. Okay, going into the primetime games, you got Florida and Texas A&M. Florida, they came. They beat Texas, upsetting them. They're now 2-3. Do you think A&M should be on upset alert down there in College Station?
Ooh, I'm going to say yes, only because Texas A&M struggled to beat Mississippi State last Saturday night. It was a low-scoring game for a while, and then they had to kind of squeak one out. But Florida's coming in with that confidence, as we just mentioned. They had to hold. They dominated the game against Texas last week. They had to hold off the Longhorns' comeback at the end. But I think Texas got to be on some sort of upset alert. And like I said, Florida's defense was outstanding last week against Texas. On the flip side for the Texas A&M Aggies, Marcel Reed, 11 touchdown passes to 3 interceptions. Hopefully he can withstand that Gators heat, especially on their front line. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm watching for Mario Craver, the Aggie star wide receiver, 4 receiving touchdowns on the year, off of 30 receptions and 557 receiving yards.
Should be very interesting down there in College Station. Back to the Big Ten at 6 o'clock on FS1. You got Iowa and Wisconsin. Wisconsin held an under for a while against Michigan, but they pulled away late. Iowa, same thing, but they lost late there against Indiana. Kansas and number 9 Texas Tech on 6:30 on Fox. Do you think Tech should be on upset alert against the Jayhawks?
Ooh, according to Vegas, they say no. I'll go with them. Texas Tech is favored by 14.5 points. For Texas Tech, their star running back, Mr. Cameron Dickey, 6 rushing touchdowns on the year. I think he'll be a big focal point for that Texas Tech Red Raiders offense. On the flip side for Kansas, Jalen Daniels, 16 touchdown passes to 2 interceptions on the year. You know he's going to bring it, but Emmanuel Henderson Jr., their star wide receiver, 4 receiving touchdowns on the year. So I think this is going to be a shootout. And if Texas Tech can take care of the football, I think they'll win this game. I think it's going to be sort of a mid-range shootout tomorrow. I won't be surprised if this game is in the mid-30s.
Could be first to like 35 or something like that. And you got Georgia. Yeah, you got Georgia and Auburn. 6:30 on ABC. Again, Georgia. You got to wonder what their mood will be like after losing to Alabama. They were able to kind of stew on that loss for a little bit. They beat Kentucky, so a nice bounce back. Can you think they could Auburn? Could pull off the upset?
I want to say yes, but I haven't seen enough of them this year, so I'll play it safe. I'm going with Georgia to get it done on the road. Georgia's favored by 3.5 points.
Now, back in the day, this is they face each other a lot in the Rose Bowl. We'll talk about this next matchup, but now they're playing each other. Now in the same conference in the Big Ten. You got Michigan at USC at 6:30. I'm gonna be on NBC at the Coliseum. Okay, do you think SC can pull off the upset? That's kind of weird for me to say that, but yeah, Kenny, you think they can pull off the upset against Michigan?
Oh, I think they can, but they're going to have to protect the football and run the ball as well. For USC, Ajay Mavia has 11 touchdown passes to 1 interception. He didn't have that great first half at Illinois a couple of weeks ago. USC responded in that second half. They just didn't do enough to pull off the win at Illinois. Also, on the flip side for Michigan, we know that their defense has been very good, but Justice Haynes, their star running back, 85 carries on the year, 8 rushing touchdowns. He's definitely going to be the vocal point of the Wolverines offense. And, of course, back to USC, Mekhi Lemon, their star wide receiver, 35 receptions on the year, close to 600 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. Mr. Lemon's going to be definitely a big focal point for that passing game for the Trojans.
Gonna be very interesting to see if which offense could hold up, because I think if I had to trust defense, I think Michigan would be a better defense than SC, but that's just my opinion.
USC is favored by 2.5 at home.
Okay, so I guess Vegas knows something, so we'll see what happens. Now, staying in the Big Ten, you got Minnesota. After getting bum rushed by Ohio State, they host Purdue. Can they bounce back against the Boilermakers, Sid?
Yes, they will. They're at home. They're favored by 7.5. They're not motivated by a struggling Purdue team. You saw what Purdue did last week, or didn't do against Illinois last week. They got smacked around a lot. So Minnesota, like I said, PJ Fleck will have his guys ready to go. Minnesota can improve their record to 4-2. I think they'll do that, and they'll win comfortably. They're favored by 7.5. Talking about the Golden Gophers.
All right, this should be a nice bounce back win for Minnesota. Now, Sidney, going to the SEC. On SC Network tomorrow, you got LSU coming off a loss to Ole Miss. They host South Carolina. Do you think the Gamecocks can pull off the upset?
Ooh, I don't know. That's going to be tough. They need their star wide receiver. Talk about South Carolina. If Vandarius Jacobs, say that 5 times fast. He's going to have to be the vocal point of that the Gamecocks offense. He has 2 receiving touchdowns on the year. He's going to have to step up to have a big end. On the flip side, for LSU, Gary Nussmeier, their star quarterback, 7 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Those numbers going to have to improve. And also to look for a strong running game in Caden Durham. He has 2 receiving touchdowns on the year. He's going to have to get the ball in his hands a little bit more too. So LSU is favored by 9.5. They should be able to win this game. I'm going with the Tigers.
I would be surprised if Gamecocks pull off the upset. They need Norris Sellers to have a big game for them to have a chance. So we'll see. Now, Later matchups at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. This is in the Big 12. I know it's weird for me saying this, but bear with me. You got BYU undefeated. They go to Tucson to face Arizona. They're at 4-1. It's going to be interesting though. I think this should be one of those interesting and intriguing matchups because I think both these teams are pretty even. So I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona I don't want to say upset because they're 4-1, but I think they could be one of those sneaky good games where they might be able to upset BYU.
And one of the reasons why Arizona is having success this year is because of Noah Fafita, their star quarterback. 13 touchdown passes to 3 interceptions. He's been playing very good ball. On the flip side for BYU, we know they could put points up on the board. LJ Martin, star running back, close to 500 yards rushing on the year, 3 receiving touchdowns. But Chase Roberts, I saw him a couple weeks ago against Colorado. He is a stud, folks. He has 3 receiving touchdowns on the year with 20 receptions and close to 400 receiving yards.
Go to the Mountain West. You got New Mexico and Boise State. That's going to be at 8:45 on FS1. A good one here also in the Big 12. We got Arizona State against Utah. Now, big news here. Sam Levitt, their star quarterback, he's going to be out. So for Arizona State, so that could be a trap over there. But you could be seeing a lot of the running back, Mr. Burleek Brown. So you might be seeing him a little bit more in this matchup tomorrow night. But it should be a fun one over there in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, Utah's favored by 8.5 points. The over on the total is 45.5.
Yeah, that should be I think that's the number one up after the Levitt injury news. So I could kind of see why they would do that. But again, you never know what that backup might do. So we'll see what happens there. Now, San Diego State against Nevada, that's going to be at 9:30 on CBS Sports Network. And for all you late owls, you got Hawaii hosting Utah. So it's going to be at almost 11 o'clock. It's not going to be on television every round, but I'm sure it's going to be streaming somewhere. So, but yeah, that's your schedule for this weekend in college football.
Real quickly, Keenan, before we break for the bottom of the hour, and we'll have our Week 6 NFL picks when we return. But quick thoughts about Bill Belichick, or Bill Belichick, as we call him on this show. According to some reports that the North Carolina wants to get rid of him at the end of the year. They're 2-3, but Coach Belichick and the school had a quote-unquote joint statement. We're committed to get this thing turned around. There's nothing too much to see here. Yeah, we're struggling, but it ain't nothing to worry about. We're just going through some troubled times right now. Blah blah blah. It's a big mess in North Carolina. I said this back when Belichick was hired. He wasn't going to stay for the whole 5 years. I said maybe 2, maybe 3, but he could be gone at the end of the year.
Yeah, when you hear things from the different parents of the players saying that it doesn't feel like his heart's in it, which is never a good thing if the parents of the players are saying that. I know some people have said, well, they're being kind of mean, but no. I think if there's a consensus like that, that's never a good thing. I think their cornerbacks coach, I think, was arrested, and I know he's been suspended, so recruiting violations, I should say. So yeah, that's another thing that's probably happening right now as we speak. So yeah, things not looking good down there. And Bubba Cunningham, what a name. Who's the AD at North Carolina? Well, I'm sure. Look, Hubert Davis with the college basketball season starting in a few weeks. I'm sure he's probably happy now that the heat's off him. He's like, no one's paying attention to him. Like, okay, I can just concentrate on our team practice. So hey, I'm saying, hey. Yeah. I'll bet you Twan Staley from the New York Daily News, friend of the show who covers the Jets. He said the same thing. So I'm sure Hubert Davis is probably happy that he saw him for a little bit.
Yeah, if Belichick is let go at the end of this year, do you think he comes back to the NFL? I don't think so.
I doubt it. It's going to be too much of a distract. I don't think teams are going to want to deal with that.
Yep. All right, we got to take our 2-2 timeouts. You listen to Second City Sports on Sports on Chicago. No, Football Friday Fun Edition. We'll have our weekly NFL picks. Who's leading? Who's trailing? We'll get our thoughts on Thursday Night Football. The NBA preseason is underway. Couple of stars are one star is out to start the year. Another star could be returning as soon as the springtime. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. And it's just stick and say right here on Second City Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Sean Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Got it done here. Ouch! And we're gonna make sure you lit this time. Ouch! You're not gonna get me this time.
Ow, Manny!
Oops! Let's try an easy one.
Every day, we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Hey, this is Corey McGee, and I listen to Sean and Maya on the morning show.
Welcome back to Second City Sports and the hashtag Football Friday, hashtag Friday Fun. You're locked and loaded right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid, that's LaKeena. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow my Kid McGee on the Twitter, X, and again, the IG.
This is our last break for the show for today and for the week. So if you have any last minute questions or comments for any other topics we discussed thus far on today's show, you can definitely hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comment section. LaKeena will get the up on the screen for you.
Real quick before we go to our picks, the Giants double the Eagles 34-17. Jackson darted 195 yards in the TD. Cam Scatterboo had 3 TDs and 98 yards, rushing yards, I should say. On the flip side for the Eagles, only 1 TD pass for Jalen Hurts and an interception. Saquon Barkley had 58 rushing yards. Dallas Goedert led the receiving part of that. And I know Jalen Carter was out. He was kind of a last minute scratch for the Eagles. I know they've had a lot of other injuries. I know they didn't have Landon Dickerson out there as well, their left guard. They've had a lot of injuries on both sides. I know Quinion Mitchell. I know he was also out. So, and I know they've been banged up, especially on that O-line for the Eagles. So again, you don't want to make excuses for them, but you kind of wonder, are the Eagles in trouble? I'm hoping not, but things gotta They just gotta set straight quick, or else the Eagles are gonna look. I don't want to take any away from anything the Giants did, but it kind of feels like, it kind of feels like they were the ones that kind of benefited from all those injuries from the Eagles.
They did. Jackson Dart looks like an NFL quarterback. I know it's way too soon. I know this was his third game, and whether we want to or not, the Giants are 2-1 since Jackson Dart took over a couple weeks ago. So people can put their pipes in smoking for now. On the flip side of the Philadelphia, we talked about this, LaKeena, when they were undefeated, they just didn't look right. And I think part of it has to do with Kellen Moore being down there, their former OC now being down there in New Orleans. And Saquon Barkley has not got enough touches to start the year. And I was listening to Colin Cowherd earlier today. He was talking about how Jalen Hurts doesn't like to throw over the middle. And the last quarterback he saw do that, it looks like he may be going to the Hall of Fame, is Russell Wilson. Remember, Russell Wilson in the pocket wasn't great. When he got out of the pocket, that's where the magic happens. Kind of what, and I like Jalen Hurts personally, but for him not to throw over the middle too much, even though Dallas had a good game last night, you're not going to survive too much in this league. Yes, he's very mobile. Talking about Hurts, he's very mobile, but when you can't throw over the middle consistently, I have a problem with that. So I'm going to pay attention to that. So I think that there's no balance with this Eagles offense. And of course, the wide receivers early in the year, both Smith and A.J. Brown were complaining about not getting enough targets. And I get that. But when you don't have that balance like they did a year ago with Saquon Barkley taking pressure off of Jalen Hurts, they won. They haven't done that so far this year. I didn't see it last night. Did you? I didn't.
Oh yeah, I think you could probably say put a little bit on Hurts, but that defense, they gave up too many big plays. That was really, I think, I know Mitchell wasn't out there, but look, Cooper DeJean, you haven't seen him. Where's Blankenship at? I mean, I think where's Sidney Brown? No, not this one, but the others. Sidney Brown that's
I'm here.
Eagles.
Give me my checks.
Yeah. So Zadarius Smith hasn't been very good so far. I know they just signed him from the practice squad a couple weeks from free agency a couple weeks ago. So I know people want to rag on Hurts. I know people want to jump on him, but I feel like there's a lot of blame to go around what's going on with the Eagles, and I think they need whatever it is. They need to right this ship quick, because if not, things are gonna be the rules are gonna start falling off in a hurry, and that's not good.
Yeah, no, it would not be good. All right, let's get into our Week 6 NFL picks. Of course, Christine the Queen, Manka, is traveling, so we wish her the best and safe travels with her. We have her picks, so we're going to give her picks out along with both of ours. But before we do, what's our records overall? What was our records last week? I don't even want to hear it, but
I know. We with all the upsets, we were not very good to start off. I mean, you had the highest. Well, you had 6 wins. I had 5. Christine had 4. Yeah, I know. 3,
okay.
But you did get a couple of games on us. So and Christine behind me. So I think you guys are you guys are tied, right? Well, no, you're 1 game behind her. So
okay.
You've actually gained a couple of games, so So
it's Christine first, me second, and you bringing up the rear. No pun intended.
No. I'm first. You're a game behind her, so she's second so far.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
but still got a long way to go. I'm not panicking.
But like I said, you gained a couple of games, so so it's all kind of like it's still very early on. We're not even halfway through the season yet, so. Still a lot to be decided here. And Minnesota and Houston are off this week, so adjust your fantasy teams accordingly. CJ Stroud and Justin Jefferson, make your adjustments if you have those players on your regular teams. So let's start in London, where you got the Broncos and the 0-5 Jets. Now, do you think the Jets can get their first win over there in? I believe they're playing. I gotta double check, but I think they're playing in Wembley Stadium. I think, or let me double check that real quick. No, they're playing in Tottenham. They're playing in Tottenham's home stadium. So Hotspur Stadium. Yep.
Yeah, Jets 0-5, Broncos 3-2. Denver's a 6.5-point favorite. I know the Broncos got the upset win last week at Philadelphia. And this is going to be another tough road game for them. I think Justin Fields will be back for this one, so that gives the Jets a little bit of hope. But I think Denver is overall better talented team, and they're definitely better defensively than the New York Jets. So I'm going with Bo Nix and crew, so I'm going with Denver here.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton's going to make sure that his guys don't get too far up in the too much. I think they did leave for London right after beating Philadelphia, so I think so that definitely helps them. And I think Denver just has a better matchup. I think the defense getting better. Patrick Surtain's actually, finally started to show you why he was Defensive Player of the Year last season. Bo Nix has been playing a lot better as of late. So I think Denver will win it. And Christine, also maybe perhaps to keep the peace with her husband. She also has Denver.
What a shock.
All right. Okay. The first of the new games. I don't think people thought that this game would be a little bit of a better matchup early on. You got the Rams and the Ravens, and it looks like there will be no Lamar Jackson again for the Ravens. I don't know the extent of the other injury reports and such. Now, incidentally, those will actually be you'll actually be seeing the number one team from Fox. Burkhardt, Brady, Andrews, and Rinaldi. And incidentally, most people will get this matchup. Will not get this matchup. I think it's mostly going to be LA and Baltimore. Southern California and most of Maryland. So sorry, folks, but I don't think that was a plan earlier this year. But gosh, it pains me to say this, but I'm picking the Rams. I think they're going to be smarting, from that loss last week. We're talking about the Rams, and I think they're going to. I don't know it's going to be similar to what happened with Houston, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams blow out the Ravens. And it pains me to say that.
I think Baltimore will play better because they got blitzed last week at home against Houston, but I think the Rams are a better team. Kyron Williams, the Rams star running back, will have a big game. He only has one rushing touchdown in the year. Hard to believe, but I'm looking for him to have a big game. And the Rams, surprisingly, over the last few years have actually done well on the road in the early noon games. So I'm going with the Rams here. They're favored by 7.5.
Yeah, and Christine, I know her handwriting. I thought I had really weird handwriting, but I'm picking the Rams as she's also picking the Rams too. So it's another sweep for us here. All right, and let me check this coverage map. I got the coverage map right here in front of me because CBS has the doubleheader this week, but most of the nation, including here in Chicago, will get this next matchup. You got the Cowboys at 2-2-1. That's actually their record, and you got the Panthers at 2-3. They got their second win of the season. Sid, what do you think?
Actually, that's a Fox game of that Cowboys Panthers game.
Well, Fox.
Yeah,
well, no. I know that's what I was saying. Like, yes, CBS has doubleheader, but most of the nation on Fox will get this game.
The Panthers have been playing well. They're 2-0 at home, 2-3 overall. The Cowboys, they did bounce back, beating the Jets last week. Dak is back, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year. Javonte Williams, 5 rushing touchdowns. He's definitely been a big surprise for that Cowboys offense, especially minus CD Lamb. George Pickens, 5 receiving touchdowns on the year. I think this is going to be a sort of a kind of close one. The Cowboys going to have to go on the road, but the Cowboys, I think it will have enough to get this done. I'm expecting another big dose of Javonte Williams. So give me the Cowboys in the 3.5 points.
Yeah,
Dallas is favored by 3.5.
Yeah, Christine also has Dallas, and do I step out and pick Carolina? No, I'm not that crazy. I'll say this: I think whatever the number is, I think Carolina will cover because I think Carolina is a little bit better. They still got a ways to go, but I think Carolina has been a little bit better. So I think they'll do but I think Cowboys will just have to hold them off late.
Okay.
All right. Next on the docket, another Fox game. Now this is kind of intriguing. I will probably watch this game on my laptop here. You got the Colts at 4-1 hosting the Cardinals. They should be 3-2, but again, that's another story. Whatever happened between Jonathan Gannon, it looks like Kyle Murray will play, even though he didn't practice for the last couple of days. And let's see, do I dare pick the Cardinals? No, I ain't that crazy. I think the Colts are look, Daniel Jones for as long. We'll see how long he can keep it up. I think Jonathan Taylor will be the star of this one, and it'll be a close one, but I think Indy will pull away late. And also, Christine also has Indy winning this one.
Watch out for rookie tight end Tyler Warren for the Indianapolis Colts. Only 1 receiving touchdown on the year. He could have a big game for that Colts offense. You talk about Daniel Jones, you talk about Jonathan Taylor, but I think Tyrone is going to be a key factor here for that Colts offense, especially in the red zone. So give me the Indianapolis Colts. They are favored by 6.5.
All right. Going down to Jacksonville after that big win against Kansas City on Monday night. They host Seattle. Now, do you think Jaguars, off a short week? Do you think this will be I don't want to say it's a letdown because Seattle's actually a pretty good team at 3-2. But yeah, do you think do you see this a little letdown with the Jags?
It's a very good possibility. It is. I think one of the factors that Jacksonville has is that they're running the ball very well with Travis Etienne. And number two, Seattle, even though they're 2-0 away from home, this is an early game for them. So something we'll have to give him. And Travis Hunter looks like he's starting to gain his ground in the receiving department. He had 2 huge grabs last Monday night for the win. I'm going to hop on that bandwagon. I'm going with Jacksonville. They're 3-0 at home. I think they'll keep it going. But watch out for Jackson Smith and Jim Bub for Seattle. He has 2 receiving touchdowns on the year off of 34 receptions. Seattle currently is favored by 1.5, which means Vegas definitely has this one at a pick 'em.
Yeah, definitely going to be one of these toss-up games. So, yeah, I was back and forth. Well, Christine has Seattle, by the way. I think I'm going to pick Seattle as well. Not because I think, the Jags are bad, but I think, look, you got the emotion from that win against the Chiefs. It's a short week. Yes, Seattle comes in, but Seattle does tend to play very well when they go cross-country and play the noon games. So I think that might be a little bit of a factor. So I think Jackson Smith and Nigel will probably be the factor here, and I think the defense will just enough to win. It could be one of those back and forth. It could come down to a field goal again. So we'll see what happens. Now going to the CBS games now. So like I said, since they got the doubleheader, you got the Chargers and the Dolphins. The Chargers, they've lost a couple in a row. And the Dolphins, if you saw Mike McDaniels walk after that game last week, you can kind of sense that something is amiss here. I think the Chargers are going to look, Jim Harbaugh will have his guys ready for a nice little bounce back win. I'm picking the Chargers. So does Chrissy. She also has the Chargers.
Excuse me. Give me the Chargers as well. They are favored by 3.5 points on the road. No, they're suffering due to a lack of injuries and a lack of a consistency in the running game, but that has to get back on track. I think Justin Herbert will get back on track as well. So give me the Chargers minus the 3.5.
Yeah, like half the nation will get this game, and some parts of Central Illinois will get this game now. The rest of the other half of the nation will get this game coming up, including right here in Chicago in the AFC North. You've got Cleveland and Pittsburgh. All right. Well, they're going all in on Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders will now be number 2. So, what do you think about this one?
Can Cleveland keep it close? I think they can. I really think they can. Of course, they have Myles Garrett, who's a stud on the defensive line, which they'll help keep Cleveland in the ballgame for a round. On the flip side for Pittsburgh, their running game has been inconsistent all year. But back to Cleveland for a second. Their rookie running back, as I told you a couple weeks ago, Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. I think, as the kids would say, he's the truth. So he has 2 rushing touchdowns on the year, 347 rushing yards. He's gaining confidence every week. But I think it's going to come down to the big plays here. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to make a big play at the end there. So I have the Steelers winning this one, but I would not be shocked if Cleveland kept it close. Pittsburgh's favored by 6.5.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh will win, and I think they'll probably – but I think Cleveland will cover. I think they're playing a little bit better. Talk about Cleveland. I think the defense is actually still pretty solid. They'll do just enough to kind of hang in there, but I think the Steelers will pull away late. And so is Christine. And Christine agrees. She also has Pittsburgh. Now, this last noon game, our buddies Roadies will have the call of this game for CBS. Down in the Big Easy, you got the Saints who got their first win of the season. They faced the Patriots, who upset Buffalo on the road, mind you. And I don't know what the line is, but I think the Patriots are playing very well right now. A lot of people say they could be a sleeper, to go to the playoffs. And look, they upset Buffalo. I think they're definitely. Still a long ways to go, but I think they definitely have the talent there. I know Drake May's been playing very solid. I know that defense is pretty good too. So I think New England will pull away late. I think it will be close. I don't think it will be a blowout, but I think New England will pull away late. And Christine agrees. She also has the Patriots.
I have the Patriots as well. I was listening to some Boston sports talk yesterday, and they were saying that, especially coming off that upset win at Buffalo last Sunday night, they should be able to blow out the Saints. So I was like, not so fast. The Saints have been playing very well these last 2 or 3 weeks. So be careful what you wish for. The Patriots should go down to the Bayou and beat the Saints. Do I think it's going to be in blowout fashion? No. Drake May's been playing well. And Stephon Diggs had a big game last week in this revenge game at Buffalo. And the Patriots defense has been good statistically, but they're still missing Christian Gonzalez and whatnot. So I think it's going to be kind of sort of close for a while. But like you said, the Patriots are going to pull away in this one. So I'm giving the Patriots plus the 3.5.
All right, but now going to the 3 o'clock games. The only 3 o'clock game in the Fox window. A battle of 1 and 4 is the total, but we keep it short and sweet with this. We don't want to go into a long tangent here. You got the Titans and the Raiders. I'll just be quick. Raiders and Christy also has the Raiders as well.
Yeah, Raiders here, clean sweep. They're favored by 3.5.
All right, now I would say, well, I guess looking at if you saw the coverage map of this late game for CBS, well, I would say, okay, Northeast, most of the South, most of the far west, and some parts of the West, not all parts, but Chicago, we're not going to get this one. So I will be watch this into my computer here. You got San Francisco and Tampa Bay, battle of 4-1. So, Sid, you start this one.
Tampa Bay surprised me last week with that big win at Seattle. That was a very good, entertaining, high-scoring and fair contest there. The 49ers, I don't know how they do it with all these injuries and whatnot. I know they had a big win in overtime last week at the Rams, so they're getting a little extra rest. But something tells me that Tampa Bay is they're bound for a breakout performance. And Emeka Ibuka, their rookie wide receiver, talking about for the Bucs from Ohio State, 5 receiving touchdowns on the year. He's going to face a stiff challenge for the 49ers defense. I think Tampa Bay is going to depend on running the football just a little bit more. We know what Christian McCaffrey can do on the flip side, but I think Tampa Bay can rely on need to run the football a little bit more just to take the pressure off of Baker Mayfield. Tampa Bay's favored by 3.5 at home. I'm going with the Bucs.
Yeah, I got the Bucs too. I think just for that reason. I don't know if Mike Evans is going to be back, but the fact that they've been able to play well without him and some of the other key injuries, it looks like they might be onto something down there in Tampa. Christine also has Tampa, by the way, so yeah, she got a clean sweep. So yeah, this should be one of those intriguing matches. Could they face each other again in the playoffs down the line? We'll get a long ways away for that one, but yeah, I think for right now, I also pick Tampa as well, a clean sweep here. Now, this is where the rest of the Midwest will get this matchup, unfortunately. And looking back early this season, I know people thought that this would be a better matchup. You got the Bengals and the Packers. Packers coming off a bye. A lot of their guys are healed up. Don't know if Christian Watson's gonna be there for Green Bay. He might be there on a limited basis. I think Jordan Love has a lot to prove. I think especially after what happened a couple weeks ago against Cleveland. I think that the Green Bay will just do just enough. This will be a nice little get-right game for them. So I'm going to pick Green Bay. Chrissy also has Green Bay. Sorry, Sid.
The Bengals have a Joe playing quarterback, but it's Joe Flacco.
Yes.
I'll send him my best well wishes, but I think this will get kind of sort of ugly. Now, if I was a betting man, I would not bet the point spread, but we have to pick games, which we do on the show. Unfortunately, I'm going with Green Bay. Green Bay, for those of you that want to bet the point spread of this game, good luck. Green Bay is favored by 14.5.
I'm saying stay away from that one. That's what I would say, because you never know what you're going to get in this one. Stay away. Steer clear of this one. Their Sunday night matchup, somewhat intriguing. I guess some would say this might be a Super Bowl preview. We'll see. You got the Lions and Kansas City. We'll see how Kansas City, what their mood is after losing down there in Jacksonville this past Monday night. Detroit. Look, Detroit's been playing very well. That Green Bay loss seems like a distant memory for them. I know they've been a little bit banged up too, but yeah, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, that Thunder, Sonic and Knuckles, as they call themselves. I think that's going to propel them. And Chris Jones, I don't know what's going on with you, dude. I mean, like he scrubbed his Instagram and like, oh God, he's just been it's just been kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm picking Detroit too. I think just they're playing the better football right now. And Christine also she said it was a close call, but I think she also picked picked Detroit. So what say you?
Yes, the Lions are the better team, but I think the Chiefs are getting Rasheed Rice back, correct?
I think so. I gotta double check, but I think so. Yeah.
And the Chiefs had their chances last week at Jacksonville, and it just did not look good. You allowed Trevor Lawrence to stumble not once but twice to get into the end zone. That Chiefs defense has problems, but Patrick Mahomes actually not been playing that poorly. I know we expect them to dominate, but it just hasn't happened yet. I think we're going to see that in this game on Sunday, and I got the Chiefs winning this ball game. Kansas City's favored by 2.5 points, so I'll be the lone wolf. Will go with Kansas City. I'll go with them at least one more time.
All right. Okay. Look, we'll see what happens there. Now we got the 2 Monday nighters. Of course, the first one, this will be on ESPN Deportes. You got the Bills coming off the upset loss to New England at home, and you got the Falcons fresh off a bye. What say you? I'll let you go first with this one.
Bills, Falcons. The Bills should be motivated after losing to the Patriots last week at home. The Falcons, they are what they are. They're barely a 500 team. The Bills are a better team. They should be able to roll over this one and get the win against the new Dirty Birds. So Buffalo's favored by 4.5. I'm going with the Bills.
Yeah, Christine also has the Bills, and as do I. I think
get back to running the football. Sean McDermott
yes.
with
James Cook.
James Cook. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think you will see that a lot, and I think this will be just enough for them to win this. So I think I picked Buffalo, and Christine also has Buffalo as well. Now, of course, last but not least, the other Monday night of the beloved, the Bears. They go against the Commanders. And I think the over-under is how many times will they show the Hail Mary? Maybe 2. Who knows? I'm surprised they haven't done it a lot this week. They actually been pretty tamed about that. But they got that lot. They got that big win against the Chargers. Of course, you got the Bears coming off a bye. Mm-hmm. McLaren won't play. It looks like, but it looks like some of the other guys. I think Noel Brown, who caught that. People forget caught that Hail Mary. But like he's going to be good to go. Look, I'm in show me. I'm in improvement mode with the Bears. I mean, I know they feel like okay, we got a little spring in their step after that win, but I think Washington show you why they're. Look, I think their defense. Well, like I said, we'll get more in depth with this game on Monday on the show. But I feel like I feel like the defense is a little bit better for the Commanders as they were last year. They got Von Miller. And Lattimore, he's been really solid for them this year. And Bobby Wagner, don't forget about him. Part of the Legion of Boom. And, of course, you got Ja'Cory Krusky Merritt, Bill, as they call him. And look, their rush defense of the Bears is still questionable. So he might have a big game. Weather might be a factor as well. It might rain. So, yeah, you might be seeing the running game a lot out there in Landover, Maryland. So, yeah, Christine has the Bears, but I'm picking the Commanders. I'm in like show me mode for the Bears. Show me something.
I have the Washington Commanders as well. Like I said, we'll get into our deep preview on Monday. But just give you the Cliff Notes versions. Yes, Kyler Gordon and TJ Edwards are expected to return, so that should boost the Bears' defense a little bit. But Montez Sweat needs to have a big game. Gervon Dexter needs to have a big game in terms of pressure and sacking the quarterback. But the biggest concern for me, like I said, we'll get into this on Monday, is running the football. I'm not sure that DeAndre Swift is in the plans after this year for the long haul. I know he has 1 year left on that contract after this season, but I'm not sure he's the long running back for this Ben Johnson team going forward. That's just me. And I don't know if they're going to the Bears can muster up a consistent run game to beat the Commanders. I'm just not so sure that's all. I'm going with Washington. They're favored by 4.5.
Yeah, so Vegas definitely knows something that the rest of us don't. So, yeah, that's it. Those are our NFL Week 6 picks from the National Football League.
You're listening to Second City Sports right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Excuse me, Sid LaKeena here with you. We just got a couple minutes left. The Bulls beat the Cavaliers this week, LaKeena, 2-0, including the 119-112 victory at the UC last night. For the Chicago Bulls, Zach Collins, 8 rebounds, 13 points. Josh Giddey in 22 minutes of action, 14 points and 7 rebounds, along with 6 dimes, 6 assists if you're scoring at home. My guy, Jalen Smith off the bench, 8.7 rebounds in 18 minutes of action. Patrick Williams, 8 points, 3 rebounds in 21 minutes of action off the bench. Dalen Terry only scored 2 points. Noah Essingwe, the rookie that was selected from Paris, in 17 minutes of action, only 2 points, 2 fouls, 2 assists, 0 for 3 shooting from downtown. Ayo Dosunmu, 16 points off the bench with 4 rebounds. LaKeena, like I said, we'll probably do more deep and dive on this coming up on our shows next week. But the Bulls, they still look good offensively. Defensively is where I have a problem. But it's just in a quick nutshell, they look like the same damn team than they did the last couple years. And nothing has changed except for the names on the roster. Some of them.
I got nothing to add. We can move on. I got nothing. No, you're basically just covering what I was going to say. So, yeah, let's move on.
All right. LeBron James for the Los Angeles Lakers, he's not going to play this preseason. He's not going to play for the first month of the regular season because of an injury. On the flip side, for the Boston Celtics, I don't know, part of it was because of promotional video for his new shoes, but excuse me, Boston Celtics for Jason Tatum, who injured his tore his ACL in last year's playoffs against the New York Knicks. He's starting to dunk now, and some folks in the Boston media are worried about that. Is he showing things too soon? Is he eyeing to come back sooner than expected? What say you? Because I think the Boston coaching staff shut it down. It's like Jason Tatum's not coming back anytime soon, but we keep seeing these pop-up videos over the last couple of weeks of how his progress is going. Is Jason Tatum coming back sooner than expected?
Well, first with LeBron, he has sciatica, and for anybody that has sciatica, it's a pretty painful injury, so it's mostly a pain tolerance. It's going to take him a few weeks to get going there, so he'll miss the first week of the regular season. So, but he is going to miss the rest of the preseason. Now, as far as Tatum, who knows? I mean, I think he might just be playing around with folks' mind. So I know they're saying that they're cautiously optimistic. That's kind of like the key word here. So we'll see. It could, like I say, it could be just be part of a promotional thing, like you said. So it might just be that. I think they just want to show something. But yeah, I just don't see him trying to rush back from an injury like that. I just don't see him doing that.
Yeah, like I said, you have Jason Tatum for the next few years. You signed him to the big contract extension about a year or so ago. And he's one of the big faces, not only on the team, but for the whole league. So Boston's management is going to be very careful with this. You got to protect athletes from themselves sometimes. So, like you said, again, he's going to be very they're going to be very protective. If he's supposed to come back in March, he'll come back in March. If he's supposed to come back in early April, he'll come back. If he's going to miss the entire year, he's going to miss the entire year. So, you just hope that it doesn't become a distraction for this for the rest of the players on the Celtics. I don't think it will, to be honest with you. So I know the media up there in the Northeast and Boston is scared, but I don't think it's going to become a distraction for the rest of the Celtics roster. Now, going back to LeBron James real quickly, Keena, speaking of promotions, he had that tweet earlier in the week saying, "Oh, I got a big announcement." Well, he's advertising Hennessy.
Yeah, that could have just been a press release. I mean, you didn't have to go through all of that.
Exactly.
People were falsely reporting that he always going to be his last year in the league. He's retiring. I'm like, oh, good Lord, stop it. But, yeah, that was, he played y'all again. So that must mean y'all got played there again. LeBron played y'all. So, yeah, I mean, Hennessy, it looks nice. The bottle looks nice, for the new Hennessy drink that he's promoting. But, it is what it is. Yeah. So it's going to be just see what happens. We'll get more and more in the weeks in NBA coming up into the coming days ahead. Now let's do the hockey as they officially started their regular season. The Blackhawks did get a point against Boston. Probably should have won that game last night, 4-3. The Brewers won that one in overtime. Like I said, they did get a point. But yeah, Connor Bedard is looking really good so far. I know Crevier, scored a goal for the Blackhawks. last night as well. So you're showing a little bit. I know that they probably should have won that game. I know they did get a point. You could probably say they should have won that opener against the Panthers that came on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, except for now. Here's real quick. I know we ran up against it, but the first period and perhaps the third period of that opener, the Hawks have played well. And Jeff Blashill, the new head coach, he's really having these guys trained to play in his system. Of course, they still got to get more talent in there, but they're playing hard for him. They're not outside of that second period. You could maybe throw in the third period as well from the opening game, even though I thought they should have been more aggressive with the shots on goal in the opener. But this team has been playing well, and even though it's 2 games, you look at that overtime last night. Yes, Connor Bedard scored his first goal of the year last night, but out of the seven periods that they played, you can say they outplayed their opponents in 5 of the 7 periods, which is very amazing for a young team. So I know people talk about Connor Bedard should be a left winger or a right winger. Okay, who's going to be your centerman?
Yeah, because that's
exactly.
You can't put Nazar out there. I know Tavo. That's not his position either. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do here with him. But yeah, the wing is really not his position. I'm talking about Bedard. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But yeah, I think so far the Blackhawks are a little bit better. Like I said, they got a point, so that's all you can ask for. They play the Canadiens. They host the Canadiens for their home opener tomorrow. You can watch that. You've got the NHL Network. You can watch it on there. Also, of course, on CHSN if you don't have that. But I'm looking forward to see what this. I'm not expecting them to compete for a playoff spot. That's probably not going to happen this year.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to see a little bit more effort that they did, for what I saw from those first couple of games, I watched a lot of that. The Panthers game. I couldn't watch the Bruins game obviously yesterday, but for what I've seen from the highlights, it actually looks like a better Blackhawks squad. So we'll see.
They did play better last night, so and they were awarded a point, but they should have awarded themselves with 2 points. But we'll see what happens. Last topic before we get out of here at the WNBA Finals. What say you?
Yeah, well, can Vegas clinch it tonight? I think they can. I think Phoenix just lost one of their players. I think she's done. I forgot who it is, but I think she's done. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Look, if they somehow do win it and force a game 5, that's fine. But it feels like Jackie Young and Asia Wilson are on a mission. So I feel like they're going to want to finish off. They don't want to give, Becky Hammond doesn't want to take any chances. I think she's going to tell her ladies, look, let's finish this off tonight. Because I know Asia had to hit that last second shot to win game 3. So it looks like I think it's going to be all aces, not literally and figuratively, but I think they will win it, and I think this will I think they'll make a visit, make this all a best of 7, especially for this situation.
Yeah, I'm going with the aces as well. All right, LaKeena, we have a busy weekend of sports ahead. I'm ready to sit on the couch, put my feet up, and enjoy it. Take us home.
All right, you follow McGee on the Twitter, McGee on the IG.
You can follow yours truly, Sidney Brown, on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80, SIDKID80, SIDKID80. Be sure to download the Sports Zone Chicago app where you get your apps. Please follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube.
All right. Of course, if you miss any episodes of our show, or whether it's our show, the Sean Sierra Sports, the Smoke Fellas, I know they're back on tomorrow, and so much more. You can catch the replays anytime, anywhere on the Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook and YouTube channels.
And we will provide.
All right, enjoy all the great busy sports time of year. You got your football, you got your baseball playoffs, you got WNBA playoffs if you're so inclined. You got hockey, you got preseason, NBA. I think the college guys are gonna be starting up in a couple of weeks with their exhibition parts. So busy time of year. So enjoy all of that. Be safe out there. Just be good to each other. For Sid, I'm LaKeena with Second City Sports on Sports Chicago, and we'll see you guys on Monday to preview Bears Commanders.
Holla!